Okay, just imagine you would wake up in the morning and everything would be gone. No smartphones, no social media, no iPads, no internet, nothing. How would you react? Let's say a natural disaster would wipe out all technology, or a hacker would spread a global virus that would eliminate our social media platforms. How would you react? Would you go crazy? Would you feel panic, anxious? How would you relate to your partner? How would you relate to your colleagues, your friends, your children? Could you imagine a life without technology? How would you fill the hours that you previously spent hours in front of your phones? I imagine you have to be creative, right? And use your imagination to fill those hours. So I'm Patrik Wincent, and I'm a therapist, and I'm also the founder of the internet addiction center called Smartphoneless Wincent, and we're stationed in Stockholm. So we've been active for 8 years, and we work with digital stress. So we go out to schools and give talks, and actually we're getting calls, maybe 10 to 15 calls a day with people that are struggling with digital stress, which means they wake up every night feeling anxious because they have to check their phones, their social media, their emails. And even people who crash their cars. There are statistics that shows that 25% of every car accidents in the States are done by a smartphone, because people has to pull up their phones and check their text or social media. And we see also kids having, struggle in their schools focusing. There are even studies that shows that kids spend less time than 60 minutes outside. Even convicts and prisoners spend more time outside than some of our children. We take up our phones 150 to 300 times per day. We're seeing that children, sleep less. So of course, a lot of things with technology is very positive, but in these changing times, we hardly recognize the other side of it. So if technology evolves in this rapid pace, we talk about Moore's law, that we integrate with technology every year in a rapid pace. But what about us humans? Do we evolve in the same pace? I guess not. We humans are the same since the Stone Age. We have the same brain. We have the same nervous system. Of course, there are going to be a collision because we cannot adapt in that same pace with technology. So I am what you can call a digital immigrant. I was not born with technology. I didn't have Facebook or, Snapchat or Twitter or Instagram, none of that. But I adapted when technology evolved. A lot of you guys are born with technology. You're digital citizens, right? So I would say there are 3 predominant factors that change how we humans interact and how we socialize and how we spend time. And the first thing is 1991. Anyone knows what happened then? The World Wide Web, right? It was introduced to us. That was the first biggest change. And the next one was when social media introduced to us, right? And that also changed how we interact. And the third is when Steve Jobs introduced us to the first iPhone. the multi-touch technology. When we press on a screen, we can interact with people on the internet and with the apps and so forth, right? So these three things is what has changed and revolutionized how we think and act. So I want you to close your eyes. Don't fall asleep. And just listen to these sounds and see what happens and how you react. Okay, so you can open your eyes. So anyone noticed these sounds? They were familiar? Anyone felt like, oh, goddamn, these sounds are so amazing. I love it. Yeah? You felt your pockets? You felt a little anxious? So these sounds actually has relevance to this topic, and we're going to speak on that. So I want to show you 3 pictures. So what do these 3 pictures have in common? The first thing is our iPhone. The second is our social media. And the third is the slot machines. What do these 3 things have in common? It gives us rewards. It releases what we call dopamine. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter that affects the reward center, the pleasure center of our brain, which is, natural. This is something that we have if we get a hug or eat some good food or we train, and it makes us feel good. But we have to differentiate the substance-based and how much release of dopamine we have. So what I'm talking about is a behavior. So imagine you would get an unexpected surprise that you didn't know just popped up. Say, for instance, in front of me, I have a chewing gum machine. And I will put down a quarter, turn the handle, and I will get a chewing gum. There is no surprise there because I pay for it, so I want my chewing gum, okay? But if I put down the same quarter and turns the handle, and I get 2 chewing balls, that was a surprise. So that surprise sends a signal to my reward center, the pleasure center of my brain, which releases dopamine, and it makes me feel good. So, if we would look at the world of Las Vegas, what do you think? Is there many unexpected surprises in Las Vegas? Well, I guess, right? Let's see these slot machines. You're standing there pulling the handle all the time, and you want the unexpected surprise. And then, all of a sudden, you get 4 cherries. What happens to the machine? Is it quiet? No. It makes a lot of sounds and noise and flashes and coins falling down on a metallic platter. Do you think it's there by coincidence? By accident? No. It should make as much sound as possible, right? To stimulate our senses. Because it becomes like a carnival for the brain, for the reward center of my brain. So what do? Do I take these coins, put it in the basket and cash out and live happily ever after? I guess not. I want to continue turning the handle because I want to be able to see the next unexpected surprise. So this is what drives us, and it's the same thing with our mobile phones. I get an SMS, bling, I go to social media, I get 5 or 20 or 50 comments. I don't know who it is, but I can check. And that is also the unexpected surprise that gives us that dopamine. So if I hear an SMS and I read it, it could be maybe something negative, a partner that yells at me. It doesn't matter. It's the sound that triggers the reward center of the brain. So that is also why we are picking up our phones 150 to 300 times per day. Because we as humans have this primitive instinct to have control of our surroundings. We have had that since the Stone Age. And if we have this little device that gives us that control, then we have the ability to always wanting to check our surroundings. So, our brain are now used to instant gratification. We want our reward and we want our information right here, right now, and very fast. This is what our brains are now used to. I had one guy who told me, because I told him to read a book, and he looked at me, read a book, it takes 2 hours. Why? I could just go to YouTube and get a summary of the book in 3 minutes. So everyone wants to go and have the shortcut. And I told him, well, if you read a book, you will learn to have, imagination, you can pictures these things, but no. And the other one said, well, I can read a book, but if I do that, it has to be with big letters and with a lot of pictures. So why? Why are they saying this? Because it reflects how we see things on internet. We're scrolling a lot of information. We're bombarded with information. So we have to select which information we can choose. Okay? So actually, how many of you are millennials? Some, right? Yeah? So the thing is, there's studies that shows the attention span has now gone from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. So I have to, capture your attention within 8 seconds. How am I doing so far? Just a side note, a goldfish has actually an attention span of 9 seconds, 1 second more than you guys. So, we have something that is called cyber slacking. Organizations loses money because co-workers are now cyber slacking, which means that they spend 1 to 2 hours spending on an average working hours on pleasure, on entertainment. We have something that is called the attention economy, which is meant to steal your attention. And I'm all for having social media to work with because I also do that. But the challenge is that if you go to the social media, maybe my intent is to email a colleague. If I go there, then I will see cat videos. I love cat videos. So I see a cat video, I gotta see that, and then I see the first one, and then, oh, this one is even better. I see the second, third, the fourth, and 30 minutes has gone. And I'm waking out of this hypnosis. I'm thinking, what happened? My intent was to email my colleague, but now I spend 30 minutes or 1 hour. So there are psychological laws that are pulling us, companies that makes millions to steal your attention. And we have something that's called multitasking. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. Everybody that says that multitasking is something that is positive, it's not. It's a myth. Every brain scientist agrees on this matter. And of course, we have to be, honest. Technology is here because it wants us to do many things at the same time, many windows, and it wants us to multitask. But it's a myth. We cannot. It's pure mathematics. If we do 4 things, we're going to get 25% of the result. If we do 2 things at the same time, we're going to get 50%. If we do 1 thing and 1 thing only, you're going to get 100% of the result. It is that simple. So if you're now maybe holding your mobile phones, going into social media, maybe answering an SMS, the probability is that you will not remember anything what I've said here tonight. And I get it. Some people say, I get a pleasure of doing many things at the same time. So I'm not saying that you don't feel pleasure, but the result is not good. It's not time efficient, it's stressful, and the content is not that good. So, we are the generation that can do many things at the same time without enjoying them. Children that multitask and play video games, watching YouTube and SMS at the same time are not going to make it in the long run. They are the guinea pigs of this generation. So when I do talks, I say to the kids, how many hate doing homework? And they're raising their hands. And I said, do you want to do homework in less time and learn more? And they look at me and say, yeah, of course. And I say, okay, turn off your phone, put it away, turn off the windows, just do your homework and nothing else. No other distractions. That's the price as well as the reward. So, if we now know that we as humans cannot keep up at the same pace as technology, and I'm saying that we are going forward, we're not going to take away anything of technology. I love it as well. But we have to understand the axis as humans. I mean, in the future, with the evolution, we will adapt to technology, with technology much more. And they say it takes 50 generations to start changing our DNA. So in the future, we will, but now we're seeing challenges for sure. So we have to look at the future. How can we cope with technology? So we're looking at something called the post-digital age, where we put humans first and technology second. Okay? Which means what I said, people first. We have to be on top of technology instead of having the technology on top of us. We have to try to be more smartphoneless. Instead of practicing mindfulness, we can start practicing being smartphoneless. Instead of meditating and catching our thoughts, we should catch our actions and question, is this a short-term strategy that gives a reward, or is this something that I want to do? So we have to increase our awareness to keep focus. So we are not really sure how the post-digital age will look like. But we are very certain that we need to put our families, colleagues, friends, and our children at first, in the forefront of our lives. So thank you for allowing me to talk tonight. Thank you.